what is STEM Share, what do we do, what's our mission. STEM Share is short-term teams to unreached people groups in restricted access countries. STEM Share sends teams of volunteers, typically on 10 to 16 days outreaches, and each team shares among at least one unreached people group. An unreached people group is an ethnic group of people that does not have an established church among them that has sufficient resources and ability to be able to evangelize their own people. So they're considered an unreached people group. Each team that STEM Share sends, it works with a partner on the field, a long-term Christian worker who lives and works in the country and has invited us to partner with them in reaching out to that unreached people group. So each team that we send is at the invitation of a long-term worker in that nation. Our formal purpose statement is to impact unreached people groups for Christ by sending short-term teams to serve with long-term Christian workers in restricted access nations. Most STEM Share teams serve within the area of the world that's come to be known as the 1040 window. What is the 1040 window? Billions of people still have no access to the gospel. The majority live in a region identified as the 1040 window, which is an area between the 10th and 40th latitudes north of the equator and stretching from North Africa to East Asia. Inside the 1040 window live the vast majority of the world's unreached people groups, more than 80% of the world's poorest people, and more than 2 billion people who practice Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, and atheism, and various animistic religions. Despite the tremendous need represented by the 1040 window, fewer than 20% of the cross-cultural missionaries in the world serve in this place. Because in these places historically they've been very resistant to the gospel, we need to approach with new ways of letting the gospel be shared in those environments. Often it's in very low-key ways, but it's always in ways that serve the long-term Christian workers who are in the process of planting churches in those places. The teams end up doing a lot of prayer and intercession and prayer walking. And prayer walking can take different forms. It's not always walking. Sometimes it's driving, prayer driving. And so that's what we did for a couple days. We went from city to village to city where there were no Christians and no Christian workers. And in each place we stopped and prayed to ask the Lord to bring Christians there, to birth the church there, to bring workers there, to work to help establish His kingdom in that place.
Pre-evangelism activities that the team has an opportunity to be a part of are mercy ministry, where we've had teams that have had the opportunity to give out clothing and food and just meet some of the practical needs of people. Also construction or helping with painting. One way that many teams have been able to be used is through English, and just being a native English speaker makes you qualified to go and help people to practice their English and learn English, and people really want to be a part of that.
We could have been overwhelmed by hopelessness at the size of the task, at seeing all those cities and villages with no known Christians. But instead, God seemed to be encouraging us as we went, that as we were praying in each of those places, we were praying forth His will, and He was encouraging us that what was happening during that time was irreversible, that He would answer those prayers.
For me, this was my first missions trip.
For us, it wasn't just a one-time trip, but it was something that completely reoriented our focus and helped to explain to us what God's will and what His place for us was.
And that's something that's affected my prayer life back home too.
The trip changed the entire way I view missions.
Found out is that the more involved you get in missions, the more exciting it is.
It was better than I could have ever expected it to be.
For your church or your group to go, STEMshare can provide a lot that will take things off your shoulders, things that you don't have to do. STEMshare provides the travel arrangements. STEMshare sets up the on-field ministry, on-field service opportunities. STEMshare provides 100% tax deductibility for your supporters. STEMshare provides trained team leaders that go with your team and are with them 24/7 on the field. There's also additional on-field training that occurs when you reach your ministry location, either by the STEMshare team leaders or the long-term Christian workers on the field. And there's post-field follow-up for your team as well. We also provide information on how you could go about adopting the people group as a church or as an organization back home, adopting the people group that you ministered among.
I really appreciated STEMshare because of the pre-education that we had before we went on the trip.
STEMshare just provided a lot of training, prepared us for the area we'd be in, just the people we'd be meeting. We went on a practice prayer walk before we even went to get a feel for that. And they also did a good job of building our team before we went, because that's a really important thing when you're going as a team and you're going to be there working together.
We met a number of times and we were able to study the culture we were going to, which was very, very different than our culture.
Our team leaders were able to facilitate our growth by enabling us to each contribute with the gifts that we had.
And we were very much educated in things we had not thought about. And so I really appreciated that from STEMshare. It was a big help and very valuable when we got to the culture we went to.
Having the opportunity to go and to work in a restricted access nation among unreached people groups does something special in the people that go. You'll find that God does as much in you and for you as He does through you.
You'll find the cost to be very attainable, especially when you consider how it benefits you through your experience, how it benefits your church, but especially when you consider that you've had the priceless opportunity to align yourself with what God is doing in calling the nations to worship Him. Whether you have a group or you're an individual, STEMshare can provide you with a unique open door. We encourage you to walk through this door with us into an unreached people group where you could be part of the process of seeing Jesus be honored and glorified in that place where He's currently unknown. So get in touch with us and let us change the status from impossible to maximum impact.
Well then come on, let's go to these unreached people.